Okay, and we are live with a new episode of Building Perspective Live today. And I'm super excited. We have our very own Chelsea, our director of social media. Chelsea, how are you today?
I'm great. It's um
Good.
it's a good day. I got up and did my hair, so feeling a little extra
Feeling
fun.
a little lively today.
Haven't done
It's
my
fun.
hair in 4 weeks.
That's funny. We are week 4 from home. My wife makes fun of me because when I have to get on like a webinar or something like this that we're delivering, I'll run downstairs. So I'm normally in like a nice, is there a nice t-shirt, a quote unquote nice t-shirt, a branded t-shirt? And I'll be like, all right, I got to get fancy. And I'll put on a collared shirt. And so I'm business casual up top and ready for bed in gym shorts underneath. So what are you guys wearing today? Uh, So anyway, you guys, what we're going to dive into today and spend a little time talking about is what is not changing in social media. All right, there's a lot changing, and we want to focus on what is not changing, and then we might talk about some things that are changing because as people are home more, they're consuming content and consuming media in different ways. And Chelsea really keeps her finger on the pulse with that and what's happening. So I thought we'd spend a little bit of time and chat through that. And if you guys have some questions or comments or things that you're seeing that you want to share, make sure you go down there in the comment box and chat in some questions. We can see you, and we will bring your question up if it's a good one and answer it and bring it up on screen. So. Chelsea, let's start. Let's dive in and talk a little bit. So, what is not changing on social media right now?
Yeah, so I want to put a whole precursor to why we chose this topic of what's not changing. It was really, I think, 2 weeks into the quarantine, and I really felt a lot of chest pains, and I was like, oh my God, things are drastically changing. And I realized that they're not changing on social media as much as we think they are. A lot of the
Right.
tools that we need to get through this, that we need to communicate with people online, on social media, we've been talking about for months, if not years. So a
Right.
lot of the tools that we needed were in our back pocket already, and they just kind of leave your mind because the world is going a little crazy. So I wanted
Yep.
to circle back and go back to what we already know and realize that we know these things, but they're taking a completely different meaning now, which is why you feel like they're changing, but they're not necessarily. So we have 5 main points
Okay.
of what isn't changing. And the first one, which is most important, is FaceTime. FaceTime is obviously not changing. You want to have more FaceTime than ever before on social media. And so utilize Facebook Live. We have a bunch of builders going live weekly at the same day, same time, exactly like what Building Perspective is doing.
Yep.
And they're talking about a bunch of different topics from the digital buying experience to design processes to just do it yourself projects that you can do at home that some they're like interior designer or construction managers are coming on and talking about. But we've been telling people for years to do Facebook Live, and everyone's like, I don't want to do it. But you have to now. There is no other way to more transparently get in front of your audience. So utilize the tool that's been around forever.
Absolutely. And I just want to note that in case anyone sees any little glitches in our feed, I have got a warning up on my screen that says, wow, Wednesdays and Thursdays are so busy. Note, some overloads are expected. So maybe we don't go live on Wednesdays and Thursdays right now. So if anything gets a little choppy, it's Facebook's fault. No, but just so everybody knows, if it gets a little choppy, it'll clean itself up. But bear with us, as it looks like there's a lot of people online.
So
So
if you're planning your Facebook Live, which you should be, don't do it for Wednesdays or Thursdays.
that's right.
Pick another day.
Honestly, a really great day as a builder going live, I think is going to be on a weekend, like on a Saturday afternoon kind of thing. I mean, I think we do have a little bit more flexibility as far as that goes right now because people are working from home, obviously, but the key term there is working from home. So they're working and not as much tuning in to your Facebook Live episode. Maybe you guys so you're considered working, right? You're working listening to our Facebook Live because you're learning about work. So this is where ours kind of, exceed, is okay for the rule there. But one of the things that we're seeing that recommending and seeing builders jumping on doing is doing those Facebook Live tours during those virtual events. If you were scheduled to do grand openings, in March and April, they're not happening, at least the ones in person. So got to get kind of geared back up to deliver it in a new, innovative way. And I think Facebook Live is a great tool. It's free. And there are some really easy to use tools that can go along with it. Like what we're using right now is Be Live. So it's B.live. It's like $30 a month. And you can have guests and host things around and get all fancy and move the screen around. And it's really, really easy to do, unless there's technical overload errors, issues. But no, I think that this is a really great opportunity to continue to stay in front of people. And Chelsea, I hear it a lot. But what do you think about this when people say, well, what are we going to talk about as a builder? Like, what can we talk about if we go live once a week? Like, what in the world would we talk about?
What can you talk about? What do you talk about to people that come in your models? What do you talk about to people that call you up and say, hey, I'm interested, tell me more?
Yeah.
Literally anything under the sun. And if you need any advice, anyone on topics and that's what you're stuck on, message us, message group 2. I will help you. I will give you a ton of different topics that you can talk about. Yeah. But I was talking to builders and they said, oh, I don't know. I just don't know if we can virtually tour a house on Facebook Live. And I said, imagine the phone is a prospect. Imagine the phone is a buyer and you're walking that buyer through the house. Tell them the exact same thing that you would say to any buyer that you tour through a house, any buyer that you tour through a model. That's what you say on your Facebook Live. It's the same exact thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's so much to talk about. And I think it's easy, honestly, for us as a builder, because we deal with this on a daily basis. This is stuff that we deal with on a daily basis. It can become kind of normal to us and almost a little boring. And we forget that every single customer that we come in contact with, most of them have never built a home before, ever.
Yeah.
Even if they're if they're a second or third time buyer, they may have never purchased a brand new home before, or especially built one. So there are loads and loads of topics to go on. And this is really where you have an opportunity, in my opinion, what you think, Chell, is to add a lot of value to your customers, right? From an education standpoint. And I think right now is really, really big on bring value to your customers where you can.
I would also say about bringing value and about thinking of topics, look on your website, and every single page on your website could be changed into a video, could be changed into a way that you can talk about in person, virtually, over Facebook Live. So whether it's a floor plan, you could do a floor plan tour, or a Matterport tour through that floor plan. If you have a page dedicated to your design center, bring on your designer. You can talk about your design process. If you have a page about your building process, you can do a whole Facebook Live just about your building process. You could do a whole Facebook Live just about one step of your building process.
Right. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You could put together a series of Facebook Lives that talk people through all the way through your process. And then when you're done, you can take that recording and then strip the audio out. And oh, by the way, maybe as a home builder, maybe you start a podcast. Like maybe you create evergreen content as a home builder and lay out 8, 9, 10, 12 episodes of the different steps along the way, and let that live on. And you can create duplicate, use the same content you're already creating, plan it out, get it out there quickly, and reuse it. So those are all really good things. And then we've got tons and tons of things that we can talk about. We just have to remember that this isn't what our customers do on a day-to-day basis. So we talk about what other things are not changing on social media right now.
I can't see all of you out there, but if you've ever heard of Matterport tours or virtual tours before that we were just talking about, raise your hand. Everyone viewing should be raising their hand.
Right.
They're not changing. How many of you have had virtual tours and Matterport tours on your website for years? And a lot of them are kind of hidden underneath floor plan pages, and then they're under another buttons that says plan a virtual tour or take a virtual tour. And this is the time to bring them to the forefront. This is Matterport and virtual tour. It's their time to shine. So whether you do a post every single week with a different virtual tour, a different Matterport tour, you could do floor plan Fridays, and every single week post a different floor plan. This is the time to have those assets that you paid for, that you had done so long ago. Now's the time. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so we're talking about really from this perspective, we're talking about organic social, like things that we can do that cost $0, right? Yep. You can go live, you can make posts, you can try to get engaging, be a resource to your buyers, to your prospects. It doesn't cost a nickel to do it. Nope. However, whenever we're doing free organic content, we are limited in reach, who we can get in front of. Like, you're only going to get, I shouldn't say only, you're going to get 10 to 15% of in front of your entire audience organically, unless you just hit the nerve of something and it happens to go quote unquote semi-viral, right? Where you're going to get a larger reach because something just kind of took off a little bit. But for the normal, you're going to get a much smaller part of your audience, where if we want to get messaging out there, we want to do ads, we've got to put a little bit of money behind it. A, to get in front of our entire audience, and B, to get in front of people that don't even know who we are yet. And one of the things that we're seeing is massive surge in social media usage as a whole. I mean, it's like 75% increase in overall usage on social media. And Chelsea, you said something interesting before we jumped on here about how and what devices they're consuming content.
Yeah. So in the past week alone, I saw a big increase in desktop views. And this is to be expected. I honestly didn't think it was going to jump as highly as I've seen across some Google Analytics with builders, but it's to be expected because everyone that was scrolling on their phones is now just scrolling on their desktops during work because they're not at work. So they're just kind of scrolling through Facebook on their desktops. And the most important thing about that is to make sure that all of your content, whether it's organic or paid, but mainly paid, fits for desktop. So I know a lot of our builders, we've been doing collection ads and pushing collection ads for a pretty long time now. But now that we're seeing this jump in desktop, we kind of have to go back to what we already knew, the single image ads, the carousel ads, and put those back in, because more people are looking on desktop and the collection ads are built for mobile. And so of course, mobile only. So of course, keep those collection ads running because there are still people on mobile, but we're seeing a huge jump in desktop, and we do not want to miss out on that audience. We want to engage them as well. And so making sure, and we talk about this all the time, data-driven creative, make sure I got it. Make sure all of the creative that you have fits the data that you're seeing. So if you go into your own analytics and you've seen what we've seen, a huge jump in desktop, go back to your Facebook ads and create another one for desktop viewing. So again, a single image ad, a carousel ad, something that is going to engage that audience as well.
Absolutely. You've got to make sure that you're creative in my opinion, it really encompasses the image, the graphic, that you're using, as well as the copy, right? So because that's you want to make sure that that's all driven based on the device that your people that people are consuming your content on. The other thing that's really important, and I'm going to share a little bit, I'm going to show a graph here in a minute, but of what we're seeing from a social media traffic perspective. But Chell, what are you seeing on? We're seeing some decreases in a good way, and I'm looking at my notepad on CPM and CPC percentages. And so, what is it you're seeing on your end?
Yeah, so we're going through what happened in March, what's happening in the first week of April, and we are seeing a decline in cost per clicks, because so many more people are online and clicking. I know a lot of people on a lot of podcasts that I've listened to and a lot of webinars that I've joined in have been talking about like traffic as a whole and what's happening to traffic as a whole on sites. And you're seeing declines. And that's the first thing you see when you go to your Google Analytics. You're seeing a decline in your traffic. But when you go into source mediums and you go into the different channels, you have to see what are the separate channels doing. And when I went in and broke it down, I saw that there was an increase in organic social and paid social, and an increase in Google cost per click, but a strong decline in other channels, which is what's causing the overall decline. And so the increase in Facebook traffic going to your website is what's causing the decrease in cost per click and the decrease in cost per metrics, which is a lot of increase and decrease. I just said I don't think I can ever say that word ever again.
All right. Let me hit it from a different angle. So we were looking this the other day. I'm gonna pull my notepad up in front so I'm not looking away so it doesn't look weird. All right. So from a CPM standpoint, that's your cost per 1,000 impressions for ad delivery. We've seen about a 15 to 30% decrease in your CPM. That means for the same amount of money that you're able to get in, more ads are being able to be served because for the same amount of money, right? So more ads are being able to be served for the same amount of money. Here's why. The travel industry are massive consumers of ad inventory on social media and Google Display Network and things like that. They are not advertising right now, right? Like you can't travel, or at least I should say you shouldn't, it's not recommended. So your people aren't spending those industries that are that are massively affected right now are not spending money on ad inventory. So that is freeing up some of the inventory that was already there. And then you're seeing a surge of online traffic as a whole into the social media world. And so you've got less ad inventory to compete with and more people. So it creates even more inventory that's available. So it's going to decrease your cost to get in front of 1,000, 1,000 impressions. The other part is we've seen a decrease in the overall, what Chelsea was saying is cost per click, right? So that CPC side, so a 10 to 25% decrease in dollars that it takes to get someone to click on your ad and drive them to your website. So that's, again, less inventory to compete with because some other industries aren't advertising as much, and there's more people online. So it's simply supply and demand are kind of a little out of balance from what they normally are. But that's a good thing for what we're doing because we're wanting to stay in front of people. Now, I'm going to pull my.
Thanks for saying that a little better.
No, I hope I said it. I hope I said it better. I'm going to share my handy dandy graph. Let me see if I can maneuver this a little better. Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to put you next to the graph, Chell. There you go. Okay.
I don't know what that way.
Yeah, right. It's close enough. So here's what we're looking at. This is March 1st through today. And the dark blue line is 2020. The light blue line is 2019. There is a massive difference between last year and this year on this is what's driving the traffic that's coming into Home Builder's website via organic social media and paid social media efforts. So that's combining the two. And it is a massive, massive growth in consumption and traffic that is being driven to Home Builders websites via social media, predominantly Facebook and Instagram. So take a look at your analytics and see, does mine look like this? It may not look like there's like this massive gap, or I should say incline that we've seen, because our numbers can be a little skewed right here in the sense that new builders that we've been working with over the past 12 months that haven't been doing it a certain way that now they're seeing huge spikes in their traffic and lead generation off of that where they weren't before. But either way, you should be seeing a good delta between last year and this year. If you're not, you got to dive in and figure out what that looks like. But each one of these dots is a day, and you've seen it kind of be bouncing around. But either way, it's still way, way up over last year. And we are still seeing our builders that we're talking to, that social media is a lead traffic driver and lead generator for them. Do you agree with that, with what the graph says, Chelsea?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can't disagree with
the numbers.
I can't argue with data. I don't know.
Right.
Awesome. I do want to go back to, I have in my notes a couple things I wanted to go back to. A couple of things with organic social, like a couple of things that you've talked about too, that I said I had 5 points, so I want to touch on all 5 too.
Go for
just for our viewers, for the audience, for the fans. So number 3, which is what you mentioned, was be a resource and be of value to people.
Yeah.
Again, we've been saying, what's the best way to be a resource to people? Blogs. You have a new blog on your website. If you have a new blog on your website every single week, switch up your blog topics and be a resource to the people staying at home. Top 5 hobbies you can start at home. Top 10 activities for your kids on weekends, or the best ways to get your kids to complete their homework when they've been at home all day. I don't know. Yeah, random things, but so many people at home are ingesting more content than ever, and they're also craving more content than ever because there's nothing else to do. And so if you as a builder can be that resource, even for topics that aren't necessarily building related, but everything is home related now because everyone's at home. And if you can share that organically on social media, that's where everyone's searching for these blogs right now too.
Right.
But yeah, we've been saying this for years. Almost everyone right now has a blog page on your website. So utilize that, use social media to push out those blogs, and nothing needs to change about your website.
Use your partners too. Like utilize your subcontractors. My friend Chad Sanchegren said this the other day. He was like, go get the landscaper, right? And say like, what can you be doing at your home right now to help spruce up your landscaping beds? Like what are some at-home projects? Like go get a local restaurant or a local chef and bring them into your model home and like Facebook Live or video them and let them show people how to make a healthy, easy to cook meal with your family, and how to bring your kids in on it. And like this is something you can do as a family together. The areas where you can bring value and be a resource, you're not selling, you're not in their face. Like, could you imagine yourself in this beautiful gourmet kitchen? Like, you don't have to do that. They're going to see it anyway. Yeah. And those pain points that they have of being in their current home right now are amplified, and they do not, trust me, they don't need you poking the bear saying like, is it painful for you yet? You need this brand new home? Trust me, they know. So I totally agree. Where you can be of value, do the blog, do a vlog, do a video on that blog. Live. That's right. So continue on. Sorry.
No, I love that. I wish I could watch a chef make a recipe right now in a home that I haven't bought yet.
That would do well.
That'd be really. I want someone to tell me all the things I can make with the stuff that's in my pantry right now, because there's a random mishmash of things, and I know. All right, moving on.
I like it.
Engage. So I don't know. I've heard the word engage every single day, multiple times a day for the past 5 years. quizzes and fill in the blanks and do this bingo and circle these things that you love, build your dream home out of these pictures, and create your superhero name. I don't know. There's 1.5 million engagement types of content out there, and there's no reason that builders can't be the ones to jump on this bandwagon and join in with these trending things. A big thing that we've also been seeing right now is the first picture challenge. And a lot of people are doing the first picture of them and their husbands and wives or partners, or the first picture they could take from like 2012 BC. I don't know. But
right.
Like, we can jump in on that and say, hey, what's the first picture that you took in your new home? What's the front porch challenge? There's Alexis on our team. She posted this. A photographer went around and took professional photos of everyone on their front porches, all these families. If you're a photographer, if you have a photographer that does your models and they have nothing to do right now, have them go around your communities and take front porch challenge photos of all of the families in your communities, and then have them post it online and tag you guys. There are things that are trending right now that don't have to do with the building industry, but it's our job to be creative and come up with, hey, how can we fit these trending topics into the building industry?
I totally agree. That's such a good idea. You could pay a photographer a couple $100, few $100, and literally just say, just walk down the street. People are gonna, like, from the street, people are going to stand on their front porches, and you're going to take pictures, and then we're going to give them all to our prospects, all to our homeowners, and just give it to them, just as a gift.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you run a contest and create a hashtag, like, that'll take off. Such a great idea. I love it.
And my last fifth and final point for now is being transparent. I mean, we've said on the internet, on social media, the best way to connect with people is to show your people and be transparent. Show that there's a human side behind your company, and show your team members, and be honest and open and have a personality, be yourself. What's better than right now? I mean, we were just talking about like our houses and pajamas and haircuts, and there's no more transparent time than right now, because everyone is living in this vulnerable situation. And if I have a dog running somewhere around this house, and I was like, oh, if the dog runs through, I can't do anything. Like, there's nothing I can do about it.
It is what it is.
Yeah, be transparent on your page. Even if you're utilizing Facebook Live from your home, don't worry about if there's going to be all these technical issues. Don't worry about if your kids run through the background, or if your dog or pets run through the background. It's just how life is happening right now. And the best way to be open and honest with your audience is to show them, continue on with normal life in these settings. So if you can show them that you can continue on with the entire process and you can still be there as a resource for them while you're in your home and in your natural state, that's the best thing you can do for them.
Amanda.
I saw Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
She's got some super creative stuff. She could kill those. She could kill it.
Yeah. And beautiful, beautiful homes.
Yes. Go. Last time. We got to wrap it up. Last one.
Sixth point. Last and sixth point.
It's the bonus one.
It's the bonus point. Connecting with a local business. A lot of the topics that we've talked about today, the organic social topics, have been things that are your resource, promote your home, but be a resource to your community right now. And I'm sure scrolling through your own news feeds, you've seen a ton of posts about how people are helping their own communities. Connect with a local restaurant. Connect with a local, t-shirt company. Have t-shirts made for your company, and then tag that local business on your page. Have a contest where people talk about the local businesses they want to help, and then they tag them. That local business gets some action on your page. They get to have more viewers, but also it drives up your organic engagement and also shows people that you're going above and beyond in this time to not only be a resource to them to buy a home, but you're being a resource to everyone in your local community that maybe is in a much larger risk of going out of business, like a small restaurant. But yeah, people really want to see that right now too. They really want to see how people are doing positive right now and making a difference and making some change and helping out whoever they can in this time. So yeah, really showing that your company cares not just about your buyers, but about everyone around you.
Right. Absolutely. All good 5+1 bonus tips. Awesome. Well, very, very good we are going to wrap up this week's episode of Building Perspective Live. And if you don't know, this is the live version of our podcast. So some of these we're taking and making into bonus podcasts. Some of these just live on Facebook. Make sure you check it out. We're posting up-to-date and very relevant topics on a weekly basis in the podcast, and then bringing incredibly relevant information like Chelsea just shared to the Facebook Live page as well. So make sure you check it out. Join the Facebook Live group, Building Perspective, the Facebook group, Building Perspective. So that's where everybody can share some really great ideas from all across the country. So anyway, thank you so much, Chelsea, for coming on. And tell your dad that he can eat in the background now. There was too much plate clanking going on. She had to tell her dad to go somewhere else and eat. So
quarantining with your parents,
That's right. This is life. That's right. Awesome. All right, guys. You guys have a great rest of the week and look forward to chatting with you soon. Bye.
Bye.